Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Hi, I'm Sandra from Sweden. I often feel that I move in the same patterns, that I go to the same places, I do the same things, and my life is pretty much the same. I'm trying to set myself free, and I want to be in a state of spiritual freedom. But when I look at my life, it's mostly repetition. So, how can I be in this state of spiritual freedom that you talk about? Thank you.
The search for spiritual freedom is a big part of why we are on the spiritual path. As essence, we know that we all have the potential of being free, completely free, not confined to form or space, but be the completeness of what we are. In reality, that is complete. It is in you. It's you as a divine seed waiting to sprout and becoming everything you can be. It's all you want, and it's what you're waiting for. The challenge with being in a life form and what keeps us in the seed state, not breaking through, is because a life form only operates in the horizontal consciousness, which is biological. You're genetically programmed to try your best to survive. And whenever we find something or do something that seems to help us in our survival, we will keep it and we will be repeating it. This is the main function in our brains, beside keeping us alive, all the bodily functions. It's establishing, how can I survive in my environment and build habits. And habits become autopilots. It's how it's supposed to be. So you will move through life with thousands and thousands of habits you're not even aware of, but that will help you in your survival. And that takes up most of the mind. And you will get annoyed whenever we're confronted with a situation where we cannot use our habits, or where our habits are being disturbed, because I want things to be this way. I always like it when it's like that. This is what annoys us the most. It is when our autopilots are poked at, because we just want things to work so we can go back to sleep spiritually. So how do we break through? I often use the imagery of the car versus driver. Now, as a human, we believe that we are the car. If you think of your body and your person being the vehicle, it is programmed then to move in a certain way, drive on certain roads, whatever assists you as a person in your survival, which is anything that doesn't kill you. The life form has no goal beyond survival, procreation, and climbing whatever hierarchies you think are important to you. So that becomes thousands of programs, and you will then move in certain patterns indefinitely. And you will simply continue and continue and continue. So the trick is, what we try to access through spiritual work, it can be meditation, it can be yoga, it can be whatever practice that you prefer, is to snap out of that and move into a position where we become aware of us being the driver of the car. And when we discover that, oh, I'm actually the driver, I'm not the car, we start realizing that, oh, I'm behind the wheel, I can actually drive wherever I want to. And you will have all these automatic systems, just like we have in cars today. We have so many security systems. They beep and they nudge and they try to keep us on the right path. And you will have to take control over that and decide, I want to drive this road, and then your GPS will tell you that, stay on course. And you'll know, I'm driving this way, right? So that's the process that you go through spiritually. You'll learn that I am the driver. Your genetics, remember that what helps you survive are basically the experience of everyone that came before you. From when the human life form was a one-celled life form, it's become gradually more complex. And the life form is able to do more complex things. But whenever you go into a situation where you don't have experience, your genes will tell you how to behave. It will trigger certain behaviors that your body and your brain will think is the smart way to deal with this. When you get experience, your brain will start preferring what you've learned from your experience. And the signals from your genes will be less domineering. Because after all, evolution is based on you moving into a situation based on assumption, part of your genetics, then you make new experiences, showing that, yeah, your genetic programming is not adequate. Things have changed. When your brain understands that, it will prefer the new information, and that is to then affect your genes, so that the next generation will have had small corrections in their programs. But it's still very much the same. So working with a vertical consciousness, trying to wake up and realizing that I am the driver, and connecting with the consciousness that you are outside of this lifetime, understanding that you are so much more than the I-ness and the biological consciousness. Transcendence is important. I don't care how you do it, but for you to learn and figure out how to move beyond the consciousness of the body, move beyond your own biology, that is the starting point of spiritual awakening. Because when you realize that you are the driver, you don't have to drive based on the pre-programmed routes. You can go wherever you want. When you choose a body, when you choose a lifetime, it's because it represents a match between the genetics and the programs that are naturally in your biology and the karma that you want to work on. So by being a passenger in this life form, and the life form just walking around and doing its thing, you will still be working on your karma. But it's not very creative. As you become more aware spiritually, you realize, oh, I can actually work on my growth, my journey more creatively. I can have fun. I can learn more. So, when you wake up, you begin having 360-degree freedom. As you start to lift your awareness, think of it like moving up. It means that you can start seeing your landscape. You can see where you are in a way you can't do on the ground as the car. So when you lift your consciousness, you can see your landscape. You can see the roads. You can see nature. You can see life. And you can decide where you want to go, what you want to study, how you want to express yourself. not based on what's pre-programmed, but based on you wanting to do more. We have the same type of mechanisms in most, I was like, gadgets. You know, it can be cars, it can be other pieces of technology. Often when you buy it, there are default settings. And you start with the default settings, but as you learn to use it and you realize what you like and what you want, you start like pushing the buttons and figuring out how you can create a setting that represents what you want, how you want it. And today with the advanced coffee makers that people have at home, it's the same thing. You learn how to tweak everything, but that's not where you start. But this is also awakening. So as you start lifting your consciousness, you get a higher point of observation. And from there, you can make different types of decisions. Maybe you see, oh, there's something interesting going on over there that I would like to study. And then, on ground level, you drive your car over there, which means you take control over your life. And you make decisions that are not at all pre-programmed. Life becomes so much richer. And you will be exercising this freedom. And the thing is, you've always had this freedom. Even when you're in the lowest level of consciousness, but it doesn't occur to you. And you wouldn't know where to go because you don't have that high point. So you can't see anything. And that's why it's safer to do what you do in your habits, why it's safer to choose whatever is programmed in your genetics. So awakening opens everything up. And you realize the potentials in the life you already have. You realize the potentials in the tools and skills that are already part of you. But you start using them more creatively, enabling you to work on your karma and spiritual studies in much more advanced and complex ways. And this is what is expected from a spiritual student. You have to figure out how to go beyond the default settings in yourself and in life and move to a higher point of observation. Because then you know what to do and where to go. Not because it's the right thing, but it's because it's exciting. You have the freedom to decide what you want to explore. You have the freedom to decide what you want to study. But you need to understand how to get there. You need to understand that it even exists, which takes a higher level of consciousness. And it takes for someone to fully realize that, oh, I'm not the car, I'm the driver. And then learn to take the wheel and learn how to drive, how to take control over yourself as a person, take control over this life beyond your instincts, beyond your needs, beyond your habits, beyond your stories and sufferings and pains and expectations, because that's just part of the car. You learn how to make choices and move completely independently of all these programmings. You realize that this is not me. It's just the vehicle I'm in. As long as you believe in your stories, your needs, your pains, acting out of reaction, and believe that life is happening to you and then you suffer, you will never drive the car. So this is the difficult thing about breaking free. You have to take full responsibility. You can't blame anyone, including yourself. It's completely uninteresting. It's only about the process of waking up becoming the driver, taking the wheel, and then go wherever you want to exercise that freedom. And what I often remind people is when they start the process of awakening and they expand and they start to understand that, ooh, I can do whatever I want. Yeah, then you need to do it. Because if you are becoming the driver and you still let the autopilot decide, there's no difference. You have to exercise your consciousness. You have to express it. You have to make choices that are different than the choices you would have made in a lower level of consciousness. Which means establishing new types of habits, new types of choices. Go to new places. Explore in ways you never would have in a lower level of consciousness. So it's not enough just to meditate and go to that high point of observation. It needs to influence where you go in your life. And I see this so often that people can be involved with spiritual practices. They go to retreats, they meditate, they fast, they do all of these things. And yet, when it comes to their life, when it comes to their habits, when it comes to their programmings, they still do the same thing. And then, what's the difference? Unless it completely changes how you live your life as a person, you're not there yet. Then you're the driver behaving as if you were the car. And then there's no difference. So learning to, number one, go to this higher point of observation and then change everything. That's how you set yourself free. It doesn't happen by itself. You just being in a higher state of consciousness and observing does not change anything. It only changes when you decide to change everything, and when you exercise and when you practice, and when you go beyond all your habits and programmings and demonstrate and manifest the consciousness available to you. So I often say that freedom and responsibility is the same thing. If you want 100% freedom, you need 100% responsibility. If you want 360-degree freedom, that's the type of responsibility you need to take. And you need to see them as the same. Because freedom is not from responsibility. That's a freedom that is infantile. It's not freedom, it's ignorance. And life will hit you in the face and you will wonder why. Because I was so free and then life limited me. Freedom is mastery. It's the only freedom there is. It's understanding how to master being in any space, being in any type of reality, and utilize whatever is in a type of reality, in a life form, in an incarnation, and make it work for you so that you are able to be in that state of freedom and that you manifest it and that you exercise it and that you make it work in harmony with life. So, first, seek 360 degrees responsibility. That's how you get there.